Okay, so a year ago now I did a video on my Yose Power kit, which Yose sent to me to test, and I've been really impressed with it. And they contacted me again about making a follow-up video, and they said they'd send me another battery, but this battery holds charge really well. So in the summer months, I guess I don't ride this as much. I tend to ride a non-electric bike, but when the weather is rough, so really windy, really rainy, this is the bike I tend to get out on. And if I'm commuting to work, I would use this one. It's a real workhorse, as you can see from all the wear on it. And while we're here, let's just have a look at the lovely view and the incredible weather today. It's 19 degrees, which is warm for the UK. And if we have a look in the far distance, you'll be able to see the sea. So on the right hand side we would have Saunton, Croyd and Woolacombe, really lovely beaches, and on the left we've got Westward Ho, Appledore, Clovelly. Very nice area to live in. So this is the front wheel motor on this kit, 250 watts, so road legal in the UK. Although, as you'll see from some of the GoPro footage, it gets up to about sort of 450, 550, something like that in watts when you're going up a hill. It's definitely a little bit noisier than some of the motors I've had, but not too noisy, and it's only when it's really under strain. When you're sort of cruising along, it's very, very quiet. So this is a 700C wheel, or what you get on a 29er mountain bike. And I don't have a pedal sensor because, as you can see from the bottom bracket, it's not straight. So this is an eccentric bottom bracket. That's how you get the chain tension. And it just doesn't suit a pedal sensor. So I have throttle control. So if I switch it on. So basically when I'm cycling, I will just dab the throttle if I need a bit of extra power. And it works really well like that. I try and cycle as much as I can without power. But when it's really windy, when it's horrible weather or really steep hills, I would tend to use it. You can see I've done 647 miles with this kit. Not a lot of miles, but I do have about 8 or 9 bikes, none of them particularly expensive or anything. I just love bikes and old bikes as well. I ride a lot of single speed bikes, and more recently I just got a folding bike which I really like. But this is my electric one. This is the one that if I have a journey to make or if it's really bad weather, this is the one I'll get, and you can see it definitely needs a clean. No problems with the bag or anything, although I did manage to snap the zip. I can't remember I did that. And in here, I always keep the key to release the battery. And I've had to start taking the battery off more recently because my work has banned electric vehicles on the premises, which I think is happening in quite a lot of places. So we have a secure area where I take the battery off and I put it in place. The battery is quite tough to remove, but if I show you how to do that, so it was unscrewed anyway, so even when I was doing that really rough bit going up the hill. So what I would do is push on the handlebars and push on the battery, and you can see it comes off, and that's the connectivity. I've definitely had on other bikes where this has failed and I've had to put carbon conductive grease in it. This seems to be a really good connection. I definitely haven't had to do anything. It's never missed its connection or anything. And there's a locking bolt which secures itself into the mount. You can see the mount is solidly mounted onto the bottle part. And then just make sure it's nice and straight. And push one more bit and it will click in place. And what I should have done was to lock it so it's not going to go anywhere. So while I'm out, I'm going to do a bit more cycling, and when I get back, I'll show on the computer the replacement batteries because Yose wanted me to talk a little bit about those. Let's have a quick look at Goodley. And there's a really nice walk that goes from there across that tree line and then down through this little sort of farmyard where there's like a caravan or something you can stay at. I'm going to keep climbing up the hill. It is a very, very long hill with a massive descent after it. Now we're up pretty high. Now I've only got a 5x zoom on this one, but I can just about pick out the silhouette of Lundy Island, I think. I'll double check on the map if I should be able to see it from here. But if we look around, we are very high now, or at least for this area. So I would have been to the right of the farm in the middle of the picture now, up on the hill. And if we spin it around, see a bit more of the sea. So that hill is where Saunton Sands is. And is it Chesil House, I think it's called? The famous lighthouse from Grand Designs is over there. So back home, and we still have a decent amount of battery left, and it wasn't newly charged today. If I press and hold the power, you can see that the light comes on there as well. So yeah, very little battery depleted, and I've definitely found this with these batteries. So I'm on the Yose Power website, and I can see from this they're celebrating their 14th anniversary, and I thought I had an e-bike quite early, so I had one, but that was 6 years ago. Well, I actually tested a friend's e-bike where I kind of got the bug. It was this Pendleton, and ended up buying one from my wife. It is really nice. It's not my style of bike, and certainly the way you ride it and things, but my wife likes it and it is pretty decent, and I basically rode it from Barnstaple to Bideford to return it after my wife had had it on loan. And yeah, it was a really good experience for me bikes. I've got a separate video on the Yose conversion, which I go through all of it. It's a half-hour video, and I actually put it on a different bike. This was it on a giant bike, but I ended up swapping it over to the Scott that you saw earlier on. And this is my e-bike playlist. Now, it was a lot about switch bikes in the early days, and the switch kit, which I bought on their sort of early Kickstarter, fits to the handlebars. Now, I didn't mind it at the time, the extra weight on the handlebars, but having the battery mounted on the frame is better. It just is much nicer. I knew that the front wheel motor was going to be absolutely fine for me because I've used front wheel motors and rear wheel motors, and I know some people say that they're not very good. Yose do both systems. I actually prefer the front wheel one because it's all wheel drive. Not sure if I can get up this hill. Quite uneven, but it's coping with it well. I wouldn't have thought about cycling up here. So you're using your legs to push the back wheel around, and the front wheel is going around as well. Even on really quite loose ground, I don't find it a problem. And I did do some videos on why people get less miles on an e-bike, but nowadays there's a really good website, which is this one from Really Good Bikes, has got a range calculator, really handy. So you can see I haven't changed anything at the moment. So average speed, well, let's say 15 miles per hour. That's the legal speed limit for an e-bike being assisted in the UK. I think it might be 20 miles an hour in some other countries. If we say what sort of level of assist we have, so I use throttle as I showed earlier on, but say we go something in the middle. So say we'll go for 5 with the level of assist that you're going to put on it. And then the weight of the person makes a huge difference. So we can go from 47 miles to 28.44. So I don't know what I weigh. I'm sure I'm under 200. And then we can say how fast you're pedaling. So we'll go with 30. The type of drive, well, they don't really have the right one here, but rear hub would be fine, so a single hub. 250 watt is my motor, 36 volt, and my battery is 15.6 hours, so 16 is the closest to that. And my bike is a hybrid bike. It's got commuter tyres on it. It is a 9-speed. I've got Nexus hub gears on it, internally geared hub. Oh, what did we get less? Yeah, we did. We get a bit less on that. And single speed, look, gets less again. Flat, some inclines. So we're going to go for, I'll leave it as it is. Weather conditions, light breeze is fine. And a few stops. So 35.16 miles. It's just, I mean, it's so weird trying to work out how many miles you're going to get from a battery. You'll get some crazy ones from one way to another. I rode that bike back from Barnstaple to Bideford, which I don't know, it's about 9 miles or something like that. It's probably longer actually, the route I took. I under-pedaled to the max. I mean, it was pretty much just pushing me along with the electric power, and it did get me all the way there, but it was struggling right at the end. If I had been more proactive, I could have had half battery life when I got there, 3/4 battery life if I tried. The good thing about these bikes and the Scott that I ride is that because it's a normal bike is how it started off, it is designed to be used without electric. So it means that you really don't have to turn the electric on. So if you're just cycling normally, you know, if it's not particularly hilly, if it's not particularly windy, you're just out on your bike. And obviously it's better for your health if you're using the battery less. Whereas I've ridden some e-bikes which you just have to have the power on. Whether it's on the lowest level or a couple of levels up, it's just horrible to ride otherwise. I'm a big fan of the conversion kit, but it's the cost of replacing batteries that's interesting, and this is where Yose comes out well. If we have a look at this, I mean, this isn't related really, but It's worth watching this video. So he's basically got this McLaren, which is a £1.2 million car, and it's a supercar or hypercar or whatever they call it, like a whole new category. And the charger is 20 grand, and the battery, and bearing in mind it's a hybrid, so it's like a boost. It runs on, I think, petrol and a hybrid battery. They were asking 120 grand for it. Well, that's obviously ridiculous, but bike manufacturers do charge a lot. I didn't have to search very far to find so a 2.5 grand bike where the replacement battery is 950. Well, this is Australian dollars, but you do find that some manufacturers really take the mick on replacement parts, whereas Yose batteries are really quite reasonable. So you can see here 36 volt 15 amp, £173. Cheaper one there with the 13 amp hour, so basically just less storage, so it will give you less distance. And if we go back to their main page, yeah, this one, how to choose the right battery. So batteries with the same appearance may come in different sizes. So there's various different connections for the discharge point. Different types of batteries, so 24 volt, mine's a 36, and the big 48 volt. And the other bit here, why choose Yose? So founded in 2011, 100% certified, CE certification, new A grade cells, not refurbished. 100% factory tested, and I can only go on my experience. I've been really pleased with mine. It was originally sent to me in exchange for doing a video, but when you look at the whole load of the batteries, so if I go 24 volt, see if the style for your bike is in here, and then 36, so various different options here, and you see these were the sort of original style. I've seen some of these come off on Facebook, and the bikes come up really cheap. So if you can get away with just buying a replacement battery, Rienchen, Farfreeze, Zundap, Fongers, Telefunken. So there's various different models that are on here. So maybe cheaper than going back to the original manufacturer. They didn't ask me to cover the conversion kits, but you can see there's various different levels here. So mine was a 250 watt. It's a 28-inch front conversion kit that I've got. Yeah, that must be the kit. That's got a throttle control in it and the brakes. And if you go on Facebook Marketplace, you will find a suitable bike for pennies. But rather than buy a new e-bike, or if you've got an old one you can convert, our local dump, you can go down there and you can buy a bike for next to nothing. So yeah, I'm definitely sold on conversion kits, and also the mount on the frame as opposed to the handlebars. I also really like having the display which tells you how many watts you're using and various different things, which I missed on the second switch kit. So the first switch kit had a display, the second one they did away with it and it just had little LED lights. And I really used to like seeing the amount of power I was using. And they also sell through Amazon as well. You can see here £146 and some of the kits as well. Okay, so I hope all this helps. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.